Just a normal Wednesday evening in June. Then, 39 seconds that would change lives forever. At 6:04 p.m. on June 24th, 2026, the ground in northern Venezuela began to shake violently. In just 39 seconds, two massive earthquakes struck, a magnitude 7.2 foreshock and a magnitude 7.5 main shock. This unusual earthquake doublet sent shockwaves through towns from San Felipe to Caracas. What happened next changed the country. Buildings cracked and crumbled across states like Yaracuy, Caracas, and La Guaira. Dozens of high-rises leaned or fell. In coastal La Guaira, waves rocked sea traffic. In the capital, power flickered out. Hospitals and homes collapsed, and a thick dust hung in the air. Over 770 buildings are estimated to have partially or totally collapsed. Scenes were apocalyptic. Photos show streets of rubble and even rubble-covered bodies. Hospitals overflowed, and the smell of death in crowded morgues was overwhelming. At first, confusion reigned. People ran into the streets. Television news announced a state of emergency. Civil defense teams and police waded through fallen walls. How many were hurt? Official counts would soon climb. Within hours, authorities confirmed dozens of deaths and hundreds injured. By nightfall, the toll had jumped into the hundreds. By the next day, over 1,000. Interim President Delcy Rodriguez declared the situation dire, but vowed help. But with tens of thousands reported missing, families clung to hope. One leader's caution became a grim reality. The threat seems to be diminishing, but it hasn't disappeared, she warned, as aftershocks continued. Each aftershock, over 800 so far, brought new fear. Bulldozers began clearing debris, even as local volunteers and soldiers searched the rubble with bare hands. Confirmed, July 2nd, 2,595 dead, 12,400 plus injured, 50,000 plus missing. The government mobilized quickly. President Rodriguez, flanked by officials, declared a national emergency on TV within hours. Field hospitals were erected in stadiums and schools, and electrical crews worked to restore power. The military delivered food and water convoys. But many Venezuelans felt official help was slow compared to the grassroots effort. Videos on social media showed neighbors pulling survivors from half-broken walls, often before government teams arrived. "We are in crucial hours," said Jorge Rodriguez, National Assembly chief, on June 28, as dozens of collapsed buildings piled up around teams. Meanwhile, bodies of the dead were being recovered in mass graves and donated facilities, a grim task the Venezuelan Red Cross helped manage. Venezuela's isolation gave way to an outpouring of international support. Over 2,600 rescue workers from more than 30 countries poured into Venezuela with search dogs, cranes, and medical teams. The US, UK, Spain, Colombia, and even unlikely partners sent aid planes. The UN's emergency agencies coordinated deliveries of food, tents, and medicine. NGO teams like the Venezuelan Red Cross and International Rescue Committee, already on the ground, scaled up immediately. Nicole Cast, IRC's country director, warned, "What we are seeing is catastrophic." Meanwhile, in Rome, Pope Francis offered prayers and pledged support for victims and closeness to the Venezuelan people. Even sports teams and celebrities donated. Real Madrid and others each gave €1 million. 2,600 plus international rescuers arrived. Beyond the immediate rubble, Venezuela faces secondary crises. Electricity and water systems are broken in 7 states. Thousands of families sleep in tents. The National Water Company warns many lack safe drinking water. A Jordanian search team gave emergency care to an infant in a makeshift hospital. UNICEF and health NGOs warn of disease risk as heat rises. In western Venezuela, the quake triggered a massive power failure that shut down Venezuela's largest oil refinery, threatening fuel supplies. Meanwhile, Venezuelan social services, already weakened by years of economic collapse, struggle to reach the most vulnerable. People have lost everything in seconds, says an IRC coordinator. Why did this happen? Northern Venezuela lies on a complex plate boundary where the Caribbean and South American plates collide. The recent quakes ruptured known faults, like San Sebastian, that experts had warned could produce 7.5 quakes. The aftershock sequence, hundreds of quakes, including a 5.2 tremor on June 27, shows the crust settling. USGS scientists note that a death toll could ultimately exceed initial counts if rubble is not fully cleared. Fortunately, the worst damage was near the coast, not underwater. No tsunami occurred, just a 4-centimeter sea rise. Still, seismologists stress vigilance. The threat hasn't disappeared, they say. Communities are now inspecting building safety, and a government commission is assessing every home's habitability. As the dust settles, reconstruction efforts begin. Search and rescue has wound down, but now the cleanup and rebuilding starts. International NGOs are providing tents, water filters, medical kits, and trauma counseling. Venezuelan engineers and volunteers map damaged zones. Some hospitals move to new locations. Media report that schools will be rebuilt with stricter safety standards. Even in tragedy, communities unite. Local churches distribute meals, students volunteer, and remote villages donate blankets. Long after the cameras leave, this work continues. Experts stress learning from this disaster. Geophysicists note this doublet was a once-in-a-century event, but building codes and emergency plans must adapt. Engineers say areas with old masonry suffered worst. They urge seismic retrofitting. Resilience planners observe that early warning systems, like mobile alerts, likely saved lives in Caracas that night. Some blame decades of infrastructure neglect for the high toll. Others say the sheer scale overwhelmed any system. In any case, global disaster response teams are studying this quake as a case study, from how 30 countries coordinated aid to how social media alerted citizens minutes before the tremors hit. The road ahead is long, but help is here. Charities like the Venezuelan Red Cross, with IFRC and Red Crescent, UNICEF, and many NGOs are raising funds and delivering food, water, and medicine. If you're watching, please consider donating to reputable relief organizations. Links in description. Your support can help families rebuild homes and hope. And keep informed. Subscribe for updates on the relief efforts and rebuilding. In the face of tragedy, Venezuelans have shown courage and solidarity. Now, the world can stand with them. Thank you for watching. In our next video, we'll profile one rescued family story and show how the community is rebuilding. Stay safe and stay tuned.